Just a quick video on the aquaponics, on the sand beds, IAVs, aquaculture. Big fish tank down there. It's too big for the beds to filter all of the water in a day, so I'm still running water in and running water out and pumping from the bottom of the fish pond into the just the two sand beds that I've got going on. I just took this jasmine 2 days ago. It's not lost its leaves yet. Hopefully it'll retain them. Flooded the system a little bit too much today for its first cycle, but it's late, and yeah, just is what it is. Anyways, doesn't seem to harm the plants at all. I've got some dragon fruit seeds in this little area, see if they pop up. Succulents seem to be doing well, and they like it. Onions doing all right. They got transplanted from soil about 2 months ago. Just put those other onions in a couple of days ago. Sunflower is a volunteer, didn't put the seed in, it's coming up by itself. Got melon here, starting getting a little bit of leaf on that, mould on the leaves, but I can sort that with some lactobacillus, which I've got. I've actually got a yogurt culture called Villi from the Middle East, which is full of lactobacillus and other stuff. So rather than going to all the effort of making a lactobacillus, I'm just going to start using that because I reckon it's better, it's easier, and it's better. It's got other things in it as well. Down the other end, I got another volunteer. The tomato's looking a bit ropey, but it's growing, and that was just taken from a plant in soil. I put a lot of seeds in the other week and it didn't come up. Maybe it got too wet. Bit disappointing, but that's okay. Try again. Got a dual root zone going on with the cilantro, which has been in about 4 days and has already picked up massively from when it was just in the soil. Just buried the pot about 1 inch down. And the success of the system, the massive success, is someone gave me some cuttings of oregano the other week, and I had it in soil and it wasn't really growing very well. It was getting a bit neglected, and put the plants in here. I've just started to take off cuttings, snapping them off, putting them in the sand, and they just root in about 5 days, like loads of roots on them. So I'm really happy with that. Got pineapples in. They're just rooting in the system when they're ready, when they've got nice roots, and I'll take them out and put them into soil. This tomato's green, which means it's happy. That one's not so green. I think it needs some foliar feeding, which I've yet to get around to, but I think I can check any nutrient deficiencies in the system by foliar feeding, and also in the night time, thinking as it's drying out, put a little bit of a food, like you know, from my food waste bucket, bokashi bucket, so it creates the plant food, so I can just water that in as well, and hopefully that will check. But once again, these have just gone in as these tomatoes as cuttings. I just took them off the plant. Look how green that is. The oregano is beautiful. It's doing really well. Loves it. Sacha inchi, which is a nut vine. That's again is what they fire off when there's a load growing up in the trees on the back, or wild. When the seed opens, it like fires them out a different direction. You get 5 seeds going, pa! So one landed in there. I saw it. I just left it, and yeah, it's doing really well. It needs to come out, otherwise it'll be I don't know. I need to take it out and put it in soil. So yeah, it's like system's been cycling for about, I think, 5 weeks now. Didn't worry too much about putting plants in immediately because I had loads on. So just stuck a few things in, but you know, it's doing its job. It is percolating very slowly through this extremely fine sand. I had to use the guadua, the bamboo strips, to just hold the sand in place, otherwise it wouldn't have stayed together. It's that fine. Put water in, I did try, and just went all flat, so I've had to do that because this fine sand is not ideal, but it's working. That's the point. Might not be able to flood it every 2 hours like you should do or could do if the sand is fine enough to pass through quickly. So this system is using sand that's not ideal. It's very, very fine, exceptionally fine sand. What I did do is I mixed where the plants are, not the rest of the sand, just in that top like few inches, I mixed charcoal in, and it did seem, I don't know, it's hard to tell because I wasn't scientific about it, but it did seem to drain a bit faster. This tomato plant, again, it went in as a cutting, and look how green that is. Yeah, there's no additional food, anything, it's just what's coming out the bottom of the fish tank. So I think with the sand being so fine and percolating extremely slowly through the system, see the oxygen's working because there's a bubble there as it's going down into the sand, so it's doing that part of the job okay, drawing in the oxygen. I put this yucca in just to stop the dogs marauding into the beds, and that's all like rooted now. It needs to come out soon, otherwise I'm afraid I'll have problems taking it out because the roots will be everywhere. It's just a live fence really to keep the dogs out at night as they were going into the sand beds having a mooch. Sunflowers coming up nice. This is this plant is jasmine. It's still got its leaves, that one. So hopefully that's going to root, and if it does, then it's a big success because I want loads of jasmine around the house to get the house smelling sweet when it flowers. So yeah, that's it really. What I'm saying is like normally like it's like a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 ratio with the fish tank area per cubic meter per square meter of sand beds, but with this sand going so slow doing the job to filter, I think I can push that like 3 or even 4 times more space to start getting a proper filtration going on the fish tank. But at the moment it's like a hybrid system because I've got the water running in, comes in here into my new primary catchment tank for the rainwater from the roof, which isn't plumbed in yet, but the water coming in from the canyon up above the farm, it's just that much water, so that's running in to this primary family bath and catchment tank, irrigation tank, and it's plumbed going out on the corner behind all those stones down there. So there's only like a 1/2-inch pipe going into the fish tank, but it's going in and then it's being drawn out at the same time, but not on the right bottom level, about halfway down deep in the tank. So I've got that, as I've always had, to water the banana plants and other trees that I planted below that gravity fed system again, and yeah, so I kind of like dual purpose. It's not covered like a normal aquaponics system would be, so rainwater enters the system also, and that bed isn't covered either, but it's doing okay, it's doing the business. I've even got fruit on some of the tomatoes that I put in. It's a ropey looking plant, but it's fruiting, and that was from a plant that was knackered in the soil. It was dead, just had a little bit on top of it, and it's doing okay. It's got 2 tomatoes on it, and garlic is coming up. The roots on that is really powerful, man. Massive roots on the garlic. I planted a load more in. Got a pepper dual root zone there again. Just put the bag on the sand, thought to see how it does. Let the roots go out the bottom of the bag into the sand. I'm bringing up my coconuts in this system as well. Ginger's just starting to come up. You see all roots around there. That's great. Look at that. Look at them roots, man. Woof. More ginger. Starting the avocados here as well. They'll start all right, I reckon. That one's opening already. Put that up there. I think I'm getting a bit too much water perhaps. And I've got to fix these furrows because I had some collapsing issues, and I've got to get around to doing that. They're all like as wide as that, but they collapsed. But I can do that as soon as I get a moment. I've got a mushroom coming there. So yeah, that's it. That's the aquaponics update.